I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah. You are the next Neville Goddard. Your SP gets wet, moist, every single time they think of you. And your bank account makes Jeff Bezos look homeless. Really quick, if you want to manifest the reality of your dreams, the link is in the description box below. They won't confess that they want you to undress. Look, guys, it is not 100% certain that if you don't get any signal, if you don't see any sign that your SP is coming back or that your SP is interested in you, if you don't see any signs, if they don't look your way, if they don't text you, if they reject your every single time that you try to ask them out, unfortunately, it's not set in stone clarity that they don't want you. So in other words, like we always say, you can't rely on the 3D, but even if you were to rely on the 3D as evidence, and if this was a fucking court of law, I can't tell you how many times I thought a girl wasn't interested, and I come to find out later on in the end that she was madly in love, madly infatuated. Because, you know, the reason why I came across this the topic, the reason why I wanted to discuss this topic is because there was a SP who, well, really, she's kind of like an old SP because now I'm in a relationship, but I saw her the other day, and she's a Starbucks girl. And she was always very cold whenever she would, you know, do my orders at the window, right? And, you know, who cares, right? I mean, not all baristas are going to be the same. But with her, it was kind of odd because, you know, she was very attractive. She was this Asian chick, you know, glasses, had that little innocent vibe to her, right? I basically fucking doxed her, right? Let's hope that we don't get the location out here, right? But before I got in a relationship, I remember that she was one of the SPs I was interested in, but I didn't really go crazy with, you know, trying to, you know, give herself to me in an imaginal act or try to experience her in the 4D. I just kind of said, oh, you know, wouldn't it be nice, you know, Beach Boys style, right? But one thing that was interesting about her, and maybe this was why she was so attractive to me, is that she was very cold at times, okay? And obviously, I don't mean that she was fucking shivering. I mean, she would not show a lot of emotion, right? Now, what's interesting about this girl is that I would say a handful of times she would just hand me my drink. She would try her best to be like, okay, $8.75. Try her best to like muster a smile, and then the moment I would try to make eye contact, she would just look away. And of course, the old story, the old Neo was trying to say, oh, it's because she thinks you're ugly, right? Because, you know, obviously, if she looks away right away, then that must mean that there's something that she doesn't want to look at. And, oh, if you were so sexy, if you were so hot, she would just go like this. Oh, right? Totally. You know, it makes sense. But then I started to tell myself, well, what if she's fucking nervous, right? And it's interesting, when I started telling myself that, I tried an experiment on top of me coming to this realization of the possibility that she could just be fucking nervous, and maybe I'm so fucking sexy to her, and maybe I'm just her fucking type, that the moment she lays eyes on me, it's like she gets stage fright. It's like she's trying to talk to her celebrity crush, and all she can do is just make mistakes. Well, on top of this realization, I started to do this thing where if there was like 3 cars in front of me, I would start to talk to an imaginary friend of mine. I would do an inner conversation, right? And I would be talking to my friend, but not schizophrenic style, okay? Like I was doing an inner conversation, but when I'm not around anybody, I like to do my affirmations, self-pedestalizations / inner conversations out loud, because fuck you, I can. One of the things that I was doing when I was, on my way to see her at the window was I was talking to my friend and telling him, like, bro, dude, she cannot stop blowing up my phone. Fuck, bro, like, she always wants to see me. And now every single time I see her at Starbucks, it's kind of awkward because we just fucked the other night, and I started saying bullshit like that, right? And I remember when I started saying that, the very next time that I saw her at the window, I would always pay in cash, right? It was always like $7.60 something, so I would give $8, and I never care for the change, right? I let them keep the change. And when I get to the window, she gives me the total, and I already have my bills ready, and right off the bat, she looks at me, and then she's like, $7.65, and I hand her the $8, and I say, I don't need the change. And she's like, okay, thank you. And 15 seconds later, she's handing me the change. And I tell her, it's okay. I remember I said I don't want the change. She's like, oh, okay. And I swear to God, I remember that she either fumbled the change or she fumbled the straw. But it was almost like right when I reminded her, like, I don't need the change, it's like her body shut off and she got nervous and she dropped either the coins or the straw. I couldn't remember, right? One of the two. And then the next time that I see her at the window, I do the same thing. It's $7.65. I say keep the change, and then 10 seconds later, she's handing me the change, right? Now, one thing's for certain, okay? 2 possibilities are here, okay? A, she is so fucking distracted all the time that even those moments where I thought she looked cold, it could just be that she's so fucking preoccupied thinking about, I don't know, her fucking math test, because I'm being racist, that she doesn't even, she's like in another world, right? It's not even that she is not interested. It's that she's kind of making that ugly face that we all make whenever we are fucking daydreaming and we're not even paying attention to the person having a conversation with us in front of our face, right? It could be that, or like I predicted, I make her fucking nervous. Because that happened twice. And again, she didn't do the whole thing like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. It was very kind of awkward, right? She fumbled the straw. And maybe the fact that I'm saying she fumbled the straw, fumbled the coins, maybe she did that twice. I think it was fucking both, if I'm being honest. All I know is that 2 times in a row, on 2 separate occasions, she fucking tried to hand me the change right after I told her that I don't need the change. And I know you're probably thinking like, well, Neil, people can make mistakes. They have a lot going on. I always do the same thing with all the other baristas at all the other Starbucks, because there's like 50 of them in the area. They always remember not to give me the change. And of course I wasn't making a big deal, but the point is, I believe that I made her fucking wet. The cum was dripping on her legs, and it's almost like she had to go pee, and that's why she fucking got distracted. I believe that my sexiness made her fucking nervous, okay? And watch this. Even if it didn't, the fact that I said that right now, if I stay in that awareness, the next time I see her, or if I continue to stay in that awareness, eventually it'll get to the point where that actually will become the reality, right? Because I'm telling you, I've had girls who's told me straight up that they were not interested, that I'm not their type. And next thing you know, they're sending me nudes, okay? Now, if this was my Patreon, I would fucking prove it to you guys, because I even remember screenshotting the text of this one girl, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, one day she's telling me that I'm not her type, and the next day she's, getting jealous as I'm talking to other girls and saying that she wants to fuck me, and, let's meet in the attic, blah, 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 vice versa, right? And sending me nudes, right? And even getting mad when I don't say hi to her at work, right? So I'm telling you guys, there's so many different fundamentals of manifestation where we tell you guys that the 3D is old news. The more you focus on the 3D, the more you're going to continue to loop it and continue to reflect the circumstances that you don't want to see. But on top of that, when it comes to SPs specifically, you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. If you go on Google right now and ask ChatGPT, if someone doesn't make eye contact with you and keeps a serious face, does that mean that they are not interested in you? And it's shocking what I saw when I typed that in on Google the other day, because I wanted to see, like, is this a common thing to believe when talking about people who can't make eye contact with you and look serious and have like a bitch face? And come to find out that, of course, people can say what they want about ChatGPT and AI and all this stuff, but all it really is it's a rendering of all the majority compilations of the resources on the internet, and it gathers information from that compilation, basically, of the entire internet. And I tend to believe that they probably do have some, factual sources on the internet on this topic. Come to find out that when you type that in, it says that a lot of the times women, and this goes for men too, because I can speak from my experience. Don't even get me started on men, okay? The whole thing about eye contact, most men, whether they are short and fat or tall and fit, tall and alpha, a lot of the times, if there's a hot girl in front of them, their balls turn into the size of grapes, okay? So don't even get me started on that, okay? So I can speak from experience, sweetheart. If you are thinking that he doesn't like you and he's not interested because he looks upset all the time when he sees you, or he doesn't want to talk to you, fucking there's no point of you telling yourself that, because you actually really don't know. Based off of that information, that's just not enough information. If this was the FBI trying to be the Sherlock Holmes of the investigation of if your SP likes you, shut the fuck up, motherfucker. That's not enough evidence. You might as well fucking, try to get a warrant somewhere else. You're not going to arrest his ass. Come to find out that when you type that in on ChatGPT, it says that women and men oftentimes won't make eye contact with someone who they find very attractive. Why? Because they have so much insecurity when they're around somebody who they really put on a pedestal, when they really find them so attractive, that looking at them scares them, because they're afraid they're going to fuck up. They're afraid of their own flaws, right? Again, I can speak from experience. A lot of times I'm okay with women, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to be one of those manifestation coaches that tells you that I never struggle. There's sometimes, because me working in customer service, I don't know why I keep hiding my Adidas over here. Come on, let's sponsor. But me working in customer service, there's this thing where I'm oftentimes making a food order or cleaning, and because I work near the front counter, where we also make the food, by the way, there will oftentimes out of nowhere be a customer standing out of my peripheral vision waiting for like a to-go box or a bag or something like that. And a lot of times they won't say, hey, sir. They'll just wait until they show up like Batman or something like that. And you'll look over and it's like an old guy, and you're like, oh, sorry about that, sir. How can I help you? But the worst part, well, I wouldn't say worst, but the most, interesting part is when you look over and there's a hot fucking sexy, fit, yoga pants wearing broad who is standing with the fucking tall posture, leaning back, tits fucking laser beaming you right in the fucking balls. And you're like, fuck. And immediately you get red, right? If you're black, fuck you guys, because you guys are lucky, right? But I'm telling you, I'm not looking, I immediately see, like, the fight or flight response tells me, sexy woman, be careful, right? I'm not going like, oh, wow. Yeah, let me get a to-go box real quick. No, a lot of times you either try to play it cool, like, yeah, let me get a to-go box. There you go. Now, me personally, I'm not as bad as I used to when it comes to making eye contact with a very extremely attractive woman. I farted, but it's more a thing where, like, I want to try to make solid eye contact, but I don't also want to be a creep about it either, right? But again, reversing the roles. Let's say that hot woman really finds me extremely attractive, right? If she comes up to me and I get nervous, but I'm not like fumbling the to-go boxes, or I'm not like, yeah, I'll get you to go, stuttering like fucking crazy. I could just go like, yeah, let me get a to-go box. All right, here you go. And not even look at her. 9 times out of 10, no matter how confident that bitch is, she's going to think that you don't want to talk to her. She's going to think that you don't like her. How do I know? Because even when I can clearly see that a man likes a woman, all it takes is one little thing that sets her off, that makes her feel insecure, and she all of a sudden feels like the ugliest motherfucker in the universe, right? Like, women are naturally more insecure than men, okay? So even a confident woman who knows that she's sexy will oftentimes just say, oh, he's probably not interested. He's probably gay. Because I know it's not because I'm ugly, right? But either way, she will not think that you're interested. So it's the same way with women. Same way with women, okay? I've had a time where, and I made this in a previous video. I had this customer come in where she was just passing by, and we're always supposed to greet the customers, so I just kind of smile at her. She doesn't fucking, actually, no, I didn't smile. That's a lie. I happened to glance over, and we catch each other's eyesight, okay? And we make eye contact. She looked like if she was just walking and, just looking about. Me, I was kind of doing the same thing, just, waiting for orders to come. And we make eye contact, and I try to wait to see what she's going to do, right? We make eye contact. She looks a little, like, I would say dumbfounded a little bit like confused. We make eye contact. Nobody smiles at each other. She almost kind of makes a face like a cringe almost, right? So automatically I was like, oh, fuck, bro. Maybe she doesn't, maybe she finds me ugly or something like that, because there was kind of like a face that she made, almost of like disdain, right? But I later thought to myself, wait a second, I'm not fucking ugly, okay? I remember that a lot of times when I make eye contact with women, or anybody for that matter, I don't really smile automatically. Especially if you catch me in the zone. Like if I'm focusing on something, or, if you're catching me at work, motherfucker, I'm not over there fucking modeling, okay? I'm in the zone. I'm a manager, okay? I'm focused on the task at hand. We're not there to fucking be on the playground, okay? So if you catch me in the fucking game, dude, I'm probably not going to be all happy duty. We're all game-faced over here, okay? So I'm not one of those guys who's going to force a smile just to begin small talk, right? And so we made eye contact, and I automatically told myself, no, she was probably making that face because she thought I was, mean, or I was upset. You know, kind of like when you make eye contact with somebody and they're so fucking pissed that they don't even give a fuck to acknowledge you. Kind of like that. That's kind of the face that I made. Come to find out that later on she comes back like maybe 20 minutes later to order a dessert, and I had to be the one to tell her what her order number was and that we were working on it and that it'll be just a minute. I tell her that, and we make eye contact, and I swear to God, I do customer service like I typically do, smile, make eye contact, treat her like a normal human being, and her face fucking lights up like the 4th of fucking July. Okay? Now, previously, she made a grimace that if I was extremely insecure, I wouldn't even have had the fucking energy to fathom the possibility that maybe it was just that she was responding to my face and kind of mirroring that, right? But the second time, I still, with confidence, make eye contact with her, smile, a very, you know, generous smile back to her, and she gives me a beautiful fucking smile. And by the way, yeah, she was fucking hot, sexy as fuck. And her cheeks fucking blow up red, right? When I hand her dessert, we again make eye contact, and she smiles back at me and has a lingering stare for like 2 to 3 seconds after. I think I even had to look away because I had to get back to work, right? And I was like, fuck, dude. Because a lot of times most customers, okay, before you guys say, well, maybe she was just trying to be nice. Urgh. Well, even if she was, I'm choosing that she wasn't, because you decide the reality, not anybody else. But one thing is for certain is that 90% of the fucking customers, no matter if they're interested in you or not, when they are just wanting to eat their fucking food, they are already focused on whatever they're thinking about, that they'll just say, okay, thank you, and then go back to their fucking seat. She practically was fucking, oh, I forgot this part. And I said this in the other video. I'm sorry. When I got her fucking dessert ready, okay, it was there on the counter and she saw that it was ready. But there was a guy who came in and interrupted. And he was asking me a question about his order. I think he was like, hey, why did they fucking put, you know, red sauce on my whatever? And instead of going to, this was the fucking part right here, fellas, watch this. Instead of going over there and noticing that, okay, I'm busy with the customer. So instead of her going over there to grab her dessert, she waited for me to finish with the customer, letting her dessert get fucking cold. Because it was a sopapilla, it was a fried dessert, right? Letting her fucking dessert get cold. She saw it ready. There was plenty of space for her to go around the guy and grab her tray and just go back to her seat. She waited until the guy got away from the counter. Again, there was plenty of space. And then she grabs her dessert. We make eye contact with each other, and she gives me that lingering fucking stare. Cheeks blowing up red. Beautiful fucking smile. Beautiful teeth. Beautiful eyes. Oh my geez. I think it was like blue eyes, brunette. You know, rose-colored cheeks. Oh my Jesus! I bet her other cheeks are fun. But anyways, and then 30 minutes later, when she's leaving, I'm on break, and I notice out of the corner of my eye she's coming. So I decide to fucking look over, because I mean, at this point, we're eye fucking each other. I got her pregnant just with my pupils, and I look over. We make eye contact. We smile again, and then I do a lingering stare. She looks away, and then she looks back again and smiles, bro. This was all after she fucking gave me an ugly look at the beginning, bro. Okay? So that's what I'm saying, guys. You shouldn't fucking focus. After all this fucking, you know, Avengers Doomsday, right? I know I took a while to get to the point there, but guys, what I'm trying to say is, whether it's an SP, whether it's someone who you know, found attractive at the cafe out of nowhere, you don't really know how they feel. So who gives a fuck either ways about the 3D? Because either ways, it is all a reflection of you either way. Okay? If you have a low self-concept and you think you're unworthy and that people are going to reject you because your living situation or your financial status or your height or your physical appearance, then guess what? Even if they like you, you're not going to notice it. Right? Or you're going to only try to ask out people who find you unattractive, and you will keep looping rejection because you are rejecting yourself. Okay? So there's no point in looking at the 3D for choosing signals and did she smile at me? Then I can finally ask for the number. Fuck all this shit. There's this ongoing thing in the red pill where they say that you have to wait for a choosing signal to ask a girl out. All that is that they are not willing to admit that they don't have the fucking balls to ask a girl out and risk rejection. True masculinity is about taking risk. Okay? Right? Michael Jordan knew that there was it's almost impossible for him to go 100% from the field. He knows that. Most basketball players don't go over 50% on their field goals, right? But what matters is that you keep fucking trying, okay? Now, again, we live in the fucking community here where we know, not that we believe, we know that we can get anything we want if we put our fucking mind to it, okay? And not just figuring out schemes on how to get somebody, but actually giving us that experience before we experience it out here in the 3D. So if you want somebody, give it to yourself in a 3D imaginal act. Fucking blur your vision, look at something that is in high contrast of its background, and wait until you get into a theta state, and then gently bring your desire into your awareness and just see what pops up. Don't worry about vividness. Don't worry about if their fucking boogers are the exact same color, if their nipples are pepperoni sized or golf balls. Just experience whatever pops up, because when you're in a theta state, your ego fucking shuts the fuck up and it gets kidnapped and, duct taped. And it's like when they fucking kidnap the principal and the little kids take over the elementary, okay? You shut it the fuck up and daddy's takes over, okay? The queen takes over, right? Your subconscious is Stevie Wonder. It can't see, so you decide what you see in the 3D, okay? But if you guys have any questions about how to actually get your desire, this video was more of motivation to let you know, like, the 3D is bullshit either ways, and my own personal experiences of why looking at the 3D never even fucking mattered to begin with, because I later find out that they wanted me in the end. So if you have questions about a specific aspect of your situation, guys, what the fuck are you waiting for, okay? Book a call with me. I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I Am Awareness had to say, and I know you're gonna be okay.